Hey everyone. So, if you're going through a divorce in Woodbury, New Jersey, you've probably got a million questions, and one of the biggest is about cost. Today, we're going to break down exactly what you can expect to pay for a divorce appraisal in 2026. The goal here is to help you plan with confidence, so let's just get straight to it. When you're going through a time like this, clear numbers are everything. It's how you budget, it's how you plan. So let's cut through all the noise and get you the direct answer you came here for. And here it is, the bottom line. For a typical single-family home there in Woodbury, you should really plan for the cost to be somewhere between $600 and $800. Now, this is your baseline, right? This is the number to keep you in your head as we start to dig into what actually goes into that price. So, you have the price tag, but where in the world does that number actually come from? Let's take a look at the foundation of that quote. To really understand that price, we need to look at a pricing benchmark that a lot of professionals use. Think of it like an industry standard. It helps keep all the quotes you get consistent and, fair. Now, this is actually pretty interesting. A lot of local appraisers anchor their pricing to the official fee schedule from the Department of Veterans Affairs, the VA. Now, it's not some law for private work or anything, but it's really widely respected as a solid, reliable baseline for a standard appraisal. And this table right here, this shows you that starting point. As you can see, the VA schedule sets a single-family home or a condo at $600, a manufactured home a little more at $650, and a multifamily property, that's going to be $775. These are really the foundational numbers that your quote will likely be built on. Okay, so now you know the price range and you get where it comes from. But what service are you actually getting for that money? Let's break down what that fee really covers. Yeah, and this is super important to understand. This is not just some casual estimate. A divorce appraisal is a formal, legally defensible document. It's an impartial valuation, and it's created specifically for the court to make sure marital assets are divided up fairly. That legal weight, that's a huge part of what you're paying for. Your fee covers a ton of detailed work. The appraiser will do a full inspection, inside and out. They're going to do a deep dive into comparable sales right there in Woodbury and the rest of Gloucester County, and they'll make really precise adjustments for your home's unique features. And all of this gets compiled into a robust written report that is specifically designed to stand up in court. But of course, not every appraisal is the same. That initial $600 benchmark is just that, a starting point. So let's look at the key things that can adjust the final price you pay. So the whole reason you're getting the appraisal is a major factor. A simple appraisal for, say, a mortgage refinance might be right at that $600 baseline. But a divorce appraisal? That often costs $50 to $200 more. And why is that? Well, it's because of the increased complexity, the super rigorous documentation the court requires, and the very real potential for the appraiser to be called in as an expert witness. The type of property you have also plays a huge role. I mean, you can see it right here in this chart. A standard home is probably going to be on the lower end of that scale. But if you have a big custom home, a waterfront property, or a house with really unique features, that adds a lot of complexity. And that increases the fee, often pushing it into that $700 to $800 plus range. Okay, so we've covered the what and the why. Now for the most important part. What does this all mean for you? Let's build a clear action plan so you can budget for this and prepare. Right, if you own a standard single-family home in Woodbury, this is your target. Plan to budget somewhere between $600 and $700. That range covers the base fee plus that typical extra charge for divorce appraisal. And for a condominium, well, the process is usually a little more straightforward. You can expect the cost to be right around that $600 benchmark we saw on the VA fee schedule. Now, if your property is more complex, say a duplex or a unique custom home, your budget needs to be higher. You should probably start with a baseline of $775, but be prepared for it to hit $900 or even more, depending on just how complex it is. Okay, a quick but really important heads up here. The appraisal report itself is one fee, but other services are typically extra. So if you need it done in a rush, or if the appraiser has to actually testify in court, those services are almost always billed separately. You want to be sure to ask about these potential costs right up front. And look, to make this process as smooth as possible, you can be proactive. First, gather any relevant documents you have for the appraiser, things like old surveys or a list of upgrades you've done. Second, make sure they can get into the entire property in a single visit. Third, and this one is critical, check with your attorney if you need the current value or a retrospective value from a date in the past. And finally, just confirm all the fees and the timeline before you hire anyone. So the key takeaway here is this. While a divorce is incredibly stressful, the cost of the appraisal, it really doesn't have to be a mystery. By using that VA fee schedule as your benchmark, you can set a really grounded, realistic expectation. And that lets you plan, manage the process, and just take one more confident step toward getting it all resolved.